Hello, I'm Matt from Ludovox.fr, and today I'm going to give you an overview of TV Show. TV Show is a party game and a memory game for 3 to 7 players ages 12 and up, and it lasts for about half an hour. So TV Show is a game about screenwriting in a writing room. The players are going to be screenwriters, and they are going to write a season of a show together. And then at mid-show and at the end of the show, they are going to hold a quiz and ask questions about the show to the other players, gaining victory points in the process. The one with the most victory points at the end is going to win the game. So basically, the setup is very simple, but also very important. We are going to have two genre cards, and these genre cards are going to give you basically directions for the plot. In this case, we are going to have a love story and a detective story. We might have sci-fi, horror, and that kind of thing, but in this case, these are the two we drew. Then we draw two characters, and collectively the screenwriters are going to name them and to give them like a purpose. For example, this is the mysterious Hector. We don't know anything about him. And this is Betty, and Betty is a high schooler. So now that we have completed the setup, we are going to tell a full season of 5 episodes, and every episode is comprised of a location, a character, and an event. So it is my turn because I have the pen token. I will choose something that has not been chosen for this episode. If I am the first one, I am open and I can choose anything. So in this case, I'm going to choose a location. I draw the first card of the location deck, flip it up, and then this is a house. So now I have to tell the story of the first episode of the show, but I have to give 3 important details about that house. So for example, I could say that this house is Betty's stepmother's house, and her stepmother and dad were not there because they were on holiday. And then Betty invited over her friends, and they were sunbathing and in the pool, and they were gossiping about that new cute kid who just moved in. So there we have it. I have done my job as a screenwriter. We move on to the next player by passing on the pen token, and they may choose between a character and an event. They will choose the character and continue the same story. In this case, Betty's cell phone rang, and it was her dad. He said, "Betty, your stepmother, she was murdered with a weird flower in her mouth. And I was just out for a minute. I was buying hot dogs for us." And then that's the end of the story, and we might continue with a third screenwriter who will tell something about an event, in this case, an argument, so we can interpret the card. So for example, it might be, "Then Betty remembered. On the 15th of December last year, the doorbell rang and she couldn't answer, and her stepmother ran at the door. And Betty saw through the window her stepmother was arguing with someone with a hat. When she came back, she was crying." And then we have our first episode. That's it. That's how we make an episode. Then we move on to the second one and the third one. At the end of the third episode, we're going to have a quiz. We are going to quiz other players about the show, about their knowledge of the show, by asking them questions about the details of the show. So for example, I might ask to my neighbor, when did the scene on the doorstep happen? And then they will have to answer like, it was in winter, it was on December, near Christmas, etc. and so on and so forth. So if they answer, they get points. If they can't or make a mistake, we move on to the next player who has 1 attempt, then to the third player if it's still not answered. So we move on until someone gives the right answer or no one can answer. If no one can answer, no one gets any points. If someone answers, they get points and I get points. And we get points based on the number of attempts. If the first player answers, we both get a point. If the second player answers correctly, we get 2 points each, and so on and so forth. So for example, if we play with 7 players, if the 6th players, if the question is solved at the 6th attempt, I will get 6 points and they will get 6 points. So I should ask questions that are quite difficult, but at the same time, this is risky because I risk people not answering and not getting any points in the process. Once every player has asked one question, We move on, we resume the show, and then do five episodes of the show. We have a second quiz there, and then we total up the points that we've earned. And the one with the most points is the best screenwriter. They win the game. So that's it for TV show. So this is a game about making up stories and also trying to remember the little details while thinking about the right questions. Now you know almost everything about this game, so bye-bye and see you on LudoVox.fr.